Today began like any other, until an alarm suddenly pierced the quiet. Without hesitation, Nick and his team sprang into action, instinctively gearing up and rushing toward the fields. No words were spoken, only tense eyes met and swift footsteps advanced toward the hotspot. Before them lay only traces, footprints etched into every inch of soil, marks left on the crops. Would they succeed in hunting down this destructive force? Stay tuned. What follows is a relentless battle about to unfold. Early morning, before the sun even dared to rise, the world across the Italian wetlands felt frozen in silence, utterly still. Only the soft, careful footsteps broke the hush, each step cautiously following the faint traces left behind. After 15 minutes of relentless tracking, a sharp crack of gunfire marked the fierce beginning of today's battle. The wild boar fought desperately to escape, but Nick's swift grip sealed its fate. The first prize of the hunt was swiftly secured in his hands. They pressed on toward the edge of the field, an obvious path the wild boars would take. While scanning the thicket across from him, a dark shape suddenly burst forth, charging into the field, ready to wreak havoc. But today, Nick was there. A gunshot rang out instantly, and in the blink of an eye, the beast was down. Another threat neutralized under the steady aim of a seasoned hunter. Before he could even reach to check, a familiar sound echoed from deep within the field. Just a few hundred meters away, without hesitation, he sprinted toward it, each step urgent, but his sharp eyes scanning every corner with a relentless focus. As he came to a halt and raised his gun to take aim, a wild boar stepped right into his sights. The cold crack of the shot rang out. The bullet found its mark, and the beast, powerless, collapsed on its right. While Nick was locked in intense battle, in another corner, James quickly spotted his target. His eyes swept over an open patch just in time to catch a wild boar charging wildly, as if fleeing from some unseen terror. Not giving it a chance to escape, James squeezed the trigger instantly. The beast tumbled down onto the dry grass. With that, a fresh wave of attack on this field. the journey wasn't over yet. The team quickly moved toward Nick's family orchard. Upon arrival, not a sound was heard as they silently took their positions, slipping into hiding spots. The hunters readied their guns, poised and waiting. 20 minutes under the blazing sun tested their patience to the limit. Then, the moment finally came for Nick. With the power of a single bullet, he cut off every escape route for the beast. What do you think of this shot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The hunters pressed on, step by step, even as the rain began to fall. Yet neither Nick nor his team showed any sign of slowing down. Focus sharpened to its peak as their vision grew blurred by the downpour. Suddenly, a wild boar darted across their path, but it couldn't escape Nick's keen gaze. A precise shot rang out, striking the beast dead on. A flawless move, halting razor-sharp tusks that threatened to ravage the orchard.
Fertile fields are mercilessly ravaged by ferocious wild boars, wiping out millions of dollars in a single night. Unable to stand idly by, the hunters set out, tracking the beasts to their very lairs. Do they have what it takes to extinguish this threat? Coming up next are breathtaking confrontations and tense ambushes that will keep you glued to the screen. Watch until the end to pick the moment that impresses you the most. On a hillside blanketed with dense brush, a hunting team swiftly deployed their formation, surrounding the area. A sharpshooter at a choke point suddenly spotted the silhouette of a wild boar emerging from the tree cover. Without a moment's hesitation, a series of shots rang out. The precise, decisive shot not only took down the prey, but also set the stage for the thrilling battle ahead. On the western slope of the hill, Nick was scanning the opposite ridge through his scope. In less than 5 minutes, a wild boar appeared, slinking through thick grass to find its way back to cover. Nick chose a favorable angle and pulled the trigger. The beast collapsed into the grass, unable to escape. A perfectly executed shot, swiftly eliminating the lurking threat in the area. An unexpected close-quarters ambush was unfolding in another corner of the hillside. A hunter was tracking the faint traces left by the beast. Suddenly, a wild boar, concealed beneath dense bushes, came into the crosshairs. Without hesitation, rapid shots rang out, giving it no chance to react. The beast collapsed right where it thought it was safest. Moments later, gunfire echoed from all directions, signaling the elimination of more threats, restoring peace to the area. In the dense thickets of Hungary, John's team arrived to halt the rampage of the destructive beasts. Upon reaching the area, the hunters quickly spread out, tracking the faint traces left behind. Not long after, a group of wild boars, leisurely foraging, was completely unaware they had entered the crosshairs. Waiting for the perfect moment, he pulled the trigger. Two boars were taken down in an instant, while one narrowly escaped. Determined not to let it get away, he quickly identified its escape route and signaled his teammates. The moment he received the signal through the radio, John rushed to the reported position. There it was, the wild boar lumbering into his line of sight. Without a second's delay, the bullet flew, and the beast collapsed to the ground instantly. This time, it had no luck escaping. Another victory was added to the team's tally. In another corner of the field, the barking of hunting dogs echoed, signaling an approaching target. The shooter immediately assumed a ready stance, waiting for the prey to appear. In less than a minute, the beast emerged, darting swiftly in an attempt to escape into the thickets on the other side. A single decisive shot, and the beast collapsed just before its escape route. Another menace was swiftly eliminated, restoring peace to this land.
You may have seen hunting videos before, but combining hunting with high-speed motorbike chases brings an entirely new level of adrenaline. This isn't just about speed or skill. It's our way of tackling the invasive menace that is the wild boar, which continues to wreak havoc on our farmlands and the lives of local people. Let the high-octane pursuit begin. After hours of tracking our target using the sharp ears of our hunting dogs, I finally pinpointed it, a massive wild boar hiding deep within a dense cornfield. My instincts told me it would bolt across a nearby dirt road, so I jumped on the motorbike and sped toward the spot. Right on cue, the beast burst out. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, piercing its thick hide. The boar stumbled, staggered, then collapsed into the earth. Another hunt ended. Meanwhile, Garrick's bike was tearing across the open field in search of another target. There it was, from a distance. He spotted a lone boar desperately fleeing for its life. He hit the brakes, aimed, and fired off several rounds. But the first volley missed. It was just too far. Undeterred, Garrick circled around, cutting off its escape path. This time, with the barrel aimed squarely at its chest, the wild boar had no aim. I, too, was on the move, heading toward Garrick's position through the maze of cornfields. Suddenly, I saw it, a breathtaking chase between a boar and a pack of hunting dogs unfolding right before my eyes. I fired a few shots from a distance, but the boar kept charging. I accelerated, intercepting it just in time. The beast didn't hesitate. It lunged straight at me. Luckily, I managed to get off with a final, decisive shot before it could strike. The threat was neutralized in a blink of time. With multiple takedowns under our belts, both Garrick and I were fired up. Fueled by adrenaline, we raced across the endless fields, chasing any sign of movement. About 10 minutes later, luck returned. Another wild boar suddenly appeared. No time to waste, I raised my gun and fired in a split second. The quick draw worked, and the beast crumpled instantly to the ground. Using motorbikes gave us unmatched mobility, allowing us to adapt quickly and cover a wide variety of terrain. The moment we got word of another boar fleeing, we raced ahead to intercept it on a dirt path cutting through the fields. There it was. As it charged out from the brush, I squeezed off a flurry of shots. Caught off guard, the boar had no chance to react and dropped on the spot. On our way back to regroup with the rest of the team, we suddenly caught sight of a few wild boars attempting to escape. We barely had time to inspect the results when more boars charged our way.
I like it!
Acting on instinct, I surged forward and pulled the trigger. A perfect hit. The boar collapsed before it could react. We went on foot to chase down another boar that had just escaped. Relying on experience, I quickly spotted its location, leveled my gun, and fired several precise shots. The gunfire echoed through the trees, blending with the baying of the hounds, signaling a satisfying conclusion. And there it was. Only a lifeless black shape remained, lying still among the dry leaves.
In the dead of night, an urgent call tore through the quiet for Thomas and Finn. Back home in Morocco, wild boars were on a rampage, tearing up fields and destroying fruit trees. The villagers, terrified and helpless, were at their wits' end. As dawn broke, two seasoned hunting teams immediately set out, fully equipped. They headed straight for the hotspots, not just on a hunt, but on a mission. Driven by courage and a fierce determination, they entered a battle to reclaim peace for their homeland. The first stop was Thomas's family's orange grove, a scene of devastation where the boars had been wreaking havoc night after night. The team worked with military precision, forming an unbreakable encirclement around the entire grove. They were on a mission. No beast would get out. The hounds were unleashed, their frantic bark signaling the start of the hunt. Within minutes, a ferocious chorus of barks erupted, pulling every eye to the sound. The hunters raised their weapons, their senses on high alert. Suddenly, a boar charged right in front of Thomas. In a flash, he took a shot, a quick and decisive action that ended its desperate run. The boar lay still, a testament to a perfectly executed ambush. Inside the garden, a small, tight-knit team was positioned, their senses on high alert for every movement and sound. Their coordinated efforts were flawless. The instant a boar emerged from its hiding spot, a rapid barrage of shots cut off its escape route for good. In quick succession, cheers of triumph rang out from other locations, signaling that another dangerous threat to Thomas's family garden had been neutralized. Meanwhile, Finn's hunting party had reached the southern hillside, a known hiding spot for the boars. Their wheels kicked up dust as they sped to the planned location, and the second they stopped, urgent footsteps moved to their positions. Just as Finn settled in, a wild boar shot across his path. He instantly opened fire, and the beast crumpled to the ground, its escape halted in its tracks. There was no time to inspect their kill. A new signal blared, and Finn raced toward the new location. Just a few hundred meters away, a herd of wild boars burst into view, running for their lives. Without a second thought, a furious round of gunfire erupted, relentlessly pursuing each one. A wave of sound ripped through the quiet as the animals dropped, their bodies strewn across the ground, marking the end of a fierce and brutal chase. As the sun climbed higher, the team decided to switch tactics, splitting up their forces to block off the entire hillside. It wasn't long before Finn's group successfully cornered a boar. The frenzied barking of the dogs created a chaotic scene as the boar desperately tried to escape, but its efforts were in vain. A series of shots rang out, successfully halting its desperate run. In every direction, other teams were having similar success, each victory another notch in their belts.
Bravo, yeah.
Down the rugged, bush-covered slope, a wild boar darted across James' path. Seizing the opportunity, James executed a series of lightning-fast maneuvers, taking the beast down in an instant. Its rampage was over for good. Cheers of joy erupted. Everyone's face was alight with satisfaction, proud to have protected their land from the destruction of these fierce monsters.
My grandparents' farm has suffered repeated damage from wild boars, with the crops taking heavy losses. Now that they've grown old and can no longer guard the land like they used to, that piece of land has become more vulnerable than ever. That's why my cousin Magnus and I decided to head out to go on a hunting trip to protect our beloved family farm. We started moving into the swampy area right next to the farm around 4 p.m., just as the wild boars began foraging. The feed we had scattered earlier had started to do its job, quickly attracting one of the boars. I climbed up a tall tree branch, hiding behind the thick brush. From up here, I had the perfect shoot. Slowly, I raised my gun and aimed at the target. Bang! Got it. I exhaled, heart still racing with excitement. A precise shot, fast and clean, instantly brought down the boar. After that first success, I moved to a new ambush spot. We stuck to our previous strategy, laying down bait to lure the boars. Dropped him. I waited for about 20 minutes before a group finally showed up. Oh, not very big in size, but there were quite a few of them. I adjusted my scope. The target this time was the one on the outer edge. Once I was sure it was within my sights, I pulled the trigger. The shot echoed through the swamp. Another precise hit, another win on our mission to track down these wild intruders. My friend Magnus wasn't far off. He had just spotted a new target and was preparing to shoot. The animal kept moving, so Magnus had to be patient. waiting for the perfect moment. Once it stepped into a vulnerable position, a pellet from his air rifle struck it down instantly. In under 5 seconds, the boar collapsed before it could even let out a cry. Unlike previous hunts, on these 2 afternoons we chose to ambush from the treetops. The height gave us better visibility, made us harder to detect, and offered more safety. But it also came with risks. A single misstep could lead to a fall, so every movement had to be made with care. When the boars appeared, my heart started pounding. I locked onto my target and pulled the trigger. Got it. I couldn't hide my joy seeing the boar drop instantly. A fatal shot had immobilized it completely. That thrill, it felt like every effort we made had truly paid off. Boars are naturally cautious creatures, but the irresistible scent of bait drew them closer, unaware they were being watched. Seizing the chance, Magnus raised his rifle and took aim. The moment the target was centered in the scope, the shot rang out. It wasn't loud, but it was deadly. 2 boars dropped on the spot. Wow, perfect, powerful shots. A performance any hunter would admire. Our previous location had been exposed, so I had no choice but to quickly relocate to a new ambush point. Before I could even get fully settled, a herd of boars suddenly appeared. A big mistake on their part, but a golden opportunity for us. I swiftly took aim, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the rifle rang out. A clean, decisive shot into the boar's life in an instant. Satisfaction washed over me. A well-earned reward for the focus and patience that had carried me.